Over the past 10 years, there has been an alarming increase in the number of assaults on innocent people throughout North America. In fact, the number of reported incidents alone has increased an incredible 500%. This means that 8 out of every 10 people on this continent can expect to become the victim of a violent crime throughout the span of their lives. So the odds are fairly high that the next victim could be you. It was once a generally accepted fact that violence was pretty much confined to the poorer areas of the city and not a problem of our own neighborhoods. Well, not anymore. Violence has spread into each and every community and even our homes. Our only defense against becoming a victim is to be prepared.
This video is about self-defense, something which is of great interest to me and should be of great interest to any one of us who feels threatened in the violent times we're living in. With the aid of this video, you will become wiser to the ways of the violent criminal and learn how best to defend yourself in any everyday situation. To do this, we will spend time with a highly qualified expert in self-defense. I'd like you to meet Garry Gallo, the creator of real-life self-defense. Hi, Garry.
Hi, Ann.
Why don't you start things off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood a lot like this one right here, except it was in East Los Angeles, and violence was an everyday way of life. During that time, I'd been shot, stabbed, thrown through windows, had my head split open a number of times with pipes and baseball bats. It was just a constant fight for survival.
Well, that's certainly being brought up in the School of Hard Knocks.
Well, I feel I learned the hard way what really works in a fight and what doesn't. I learned how absolutely vicious some of these people can be and what the average person will be up against.
I understand that for years you've studied a number of different styles of self-defense as well as government statistics, and that you analyze every assault you read or hear about.
Yes, that's true. I put myself in the victim's place and say, what would I have done? Sure, there are times when the victim was completely at the mercy of the attacker from beginning to end. But more times than not, the victim had a number of options to turn things around had they only known even basic real-life self-defense. And that's what inspired me to make this video.
Well, it certainly seems that crimes of violence against innocent people is on the increase.
Absolutely. In the past 2 years alone, all violent crimes have more than doubled.
Do you have any idea why?
Actually, there are a number of psychiatrists in North America studying just that. And some of the conclusions are pretty bizarre. They range from too much violence on TV to too much sugar in modern man's diet, not enough zinc in modern man's diet, alcohol shrinks the brain even in social drinkers, and the worldwide epidemic of hard drugs. Whatever the reasons are, violence is here to stay for a long time.
So, our future looks kind of grim.
It certainly does, and the public better wake up to the fact that these are the good old days compared to what lies ahead.
But surely if I'm careful, it won't happen to me, will it?
That's the trouble. Few people take self-defense seriously because most people think it can't happen to them. Well, that's what these people probably thought.
That's frightening.
Hey, these are violent times and it can happen to you. And if it does, hopefully you'll have learned something from this video that'll help turn the situation around.
Garry, is it better to fight back or simply to submit to an attack?
That's the most common question asked, and to be perfectly honest, it's impossible for me to give a direct answer because every situation is different. Sometimes it's better to submit, but other times you have no other option other than to fight back to survive. And that's what this video is about, surviving an attack.
So, how hard would it be for someone, for instance, like me, to defend myself against someone, say, like you?
Not as hard as most people think, provided they dedicate a few minutes every day to the various aspects of self-defense. And why don't we go to a more private location and I'll take you through a real-life self-defense course step by step.
Oh, well, this is more comfortable.
Well, there's a reason I brought you to this room. People have a misconception about practicing self-defense. They seem to feel that they need a gymnasium or a big area. This room is fine. I'm going to show you lots of things right in this room that'll help you in a real-life situation. Even the type of clothing that you wear when you practice is very important. If you always practice in baggy clothing and your normal everyday clothes are more restricted, you're not going to be effective in self-defense. So practice in the clothes that you normally wear. The living room's a great place to practice. That's where I prefer, while I'm watching television.
So where do we begin?
The first step in self-defense training is to start exercising your mind and sharpening your instincts and learn to feel the energy around you. This step is called mental conditioning, and it starts with the 3 A's: alertness, awareness, and avoidance. Actually, you do these things every day while driving your car. If you're not alert, the unexpected will catch you off guard. If you're not aware of what's going on around you, you're just waiting for an accident to happen. And if you continue to take unnecessary chances, it's just a matter of time before your luck runs out. A person should always be alert to what's going on in their environment. They should always be aware of what objects and obstacles are around them. And most of all, they should be aware of the moods that people are in, especially if these people are using drugs or alcohol, which, by the way, are responsible for over 80% of all violent assaults. You don't have to become paranoid. Just practice taking in more information. A lot of times you can feel something before it happens, which gives you valuable preparation time.
What do you mean by preparation time?
A person must prepare their mind before an attack. They must accept that it's possible that they could be attacked and that they'll use whatever means are necessary to survive that attack. They must accept that while defending themselves, they will probably be hurt in some way. They must accept these facts and then put them out of their mind.
Is this something that's easy to do?
Yes, and it can be interesting and fun. It's called the mind game. And by playing it, you'll learn to think strategically and also learn to lower your levels of fear. Understand that high levels of fear are the victim's single biggest downfall, simply because they're neither prepared mentally or physically for an attack. And if they are attacked, they freeze, which gives the assailant complete control.
What's this game you're talking about?
Okay, an example would be you're at the bank machine withdrawing some cash, and you see a person watching you. Ask yourself, what would I do right now if that person was to attack me? If you're walking to your car, ask yourself, what would I do right now if somebody came out of those bushes? Look at what your options are. Look at your surroundings. Are there other people close by that could hear you if you screamed? What are your escape routes? By playing this game, you'll learn to think strategically and avoid the worst possible answer. And that is, I just don't know what to do.
Okay, Gary, well, where do we go from here?
Understand that this is just a game. Real-life self-defense boils down to 4 very important things. Step 1 is strategy. Step 2 is the knowledge of prime body targets. Step 3 is the execution of blows to prime body targets. And step 4, a very strong will to survive. But before we begin with prime body targets, there's a few things that I'd like to bring to your attention. First of all, you don't need to know hundreds of techniques to defend yourself effectively. But what you do need to know is, what type of an attack is it that I am most likely to experience? Is it a domestic assault? Is it a rape outside the home? Is it a robbery assault? All these assaults have patterns. So basically, if you don't want to dedicate your whole life to all the different possibilities, just pick the area that you feel vulnerable in and practice a handful of defenses in that area. This video will deal with the most common types of assaults, from domestic to rape attacks on the street. You must understand that a real-life attack is vicious and radical and in constant change from second to second. So it's impossible for me or anyone else to say, do this technique, then this one. Simply, you see the exposed target and you strike it with the proper blow.
What would be my best defense against a vicious attack?
Truthfully, Anne, your best defense against a vicious attack is to use some type of weapon. And one of the most convenient and effective weapons that comes to mind is an ordinary ballpoint pen like this one.
Is that a joke?
It's no joke. A pen held like this and used properly can be a very dangerous weapon. You put the pen in the palm of your hand, reinforce the shank with your fingers. Don't put it in your hand like this, because if you hit something, it'll drive the thumb back. You want to hold it like this, wrap it around. Now I'm going to show you how dangerous something like this can be.
Okay.
This is a piece of 3/4-inch gyprock.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, there's a lot of other techniques I want to show you. Come on. Remember the mind game where we were creating imaginary attacks?
Uh-huh.
Well, now the game's over. Now it's reality.
Wow, I never thought a pen could be such a lifesaver.
Yes, it can be. And there are other techniques that I want to show you that are just as valuable.
That's great, but I'd really like to learn more. Could you maybe show me a few things?
I'd love to. If you could make some space, I'll be back in a few minutes with an assistant.
Okay.
We're back.
Hi.
This is Jim,
Hi.
and he's going to be my assistant while I take you through a basic real-life self-defense course. Jim, if I could get you to put on these shin guards. And Ann, we'll start right over here, and we're going to talk first about body targets.
Okay.
In self-defense training, body targets are divided into two different groups: major targets and minor targets. Major targets will affect everyone the same, regardless of their size or their strength. Minor targets are hit to create a reaction and an opening so you can hit a major target. The major targets that you need to memorize are the eyes, the temple, the underside of the nose, the throat, the xiphoid, the groin, and the foot. The next thing you're going to need to know is which blows do the most damage to each target. For instance, a thumb slash to the eye will do more damage than a punch. As a matter of fact, forget punching altogether. There are many more effective blows, especially for women to use. The most common restraining hold in a domestic dispute, just before a slap or a punch, is a single or double wrist grab. Understand that as soon as you're grabbed aggressively, the fight is in the first stage, and your goal should always be to break free and escape. Now, just breaking free won't give you enough time to escape. You're going to have to strike the assailant. Quite often, the assailant is considerably bigger than the victim, and his hand will completely wrap around the victim's wrist, leaving no gap to roll out of. And this is where striking a sensitive target, like the shin, can come in very handy. Let me show you a demonstration on Jim.
Okay.
In a situation like this, where there's no gap for me to roll out of, I'm going to have to strike a sensitive target, like the shin, to get a reaction. What I want to do is break his focus. There's actually 3 options that I have, and I'll run them by you real fast. One is a loud, violent scream, can sometimes break his focus. A second option is spitting in his face. It's true, it'll break his focus.
Okay.
If you let out a scream or you spit, that's when you twist out. The third one, which is probably the most effective of the 3, is a snap kick, using the toes or the ball of your foot and kicking him in the shin. This kick is done, lift your leg up, his grip will actually stabilize your balance. You fire the blow, and your knee acts as a hinge.
Okay.
And literally, to practice that, just feel your leg rocking back and forth. Now I'll put some power behind it. Now I'm going to kick him in the shin. He's got shin guards on, so it shouldn't hurt him. And at the same time when I kick, I'm going to twist out.
Okay.
Be like this. Now I'm going to have to strike him. And the best blow that I know of, especially for women, is called a palm heel strike. Hold your hand like this.
Okay.
Now, put the fingers together,
Yeah.
pull them back slightly, and tuck the thumb in. That's it. And you want to make contact with literally this part of your hand.
Okay.
To get the most power out of this blow, you put a torque to it. In other words, you twist it.
Okay.
And actually, you can practice that type of exercise, getting that twist into it. You gain about 25% more power when you put that twist.
Really?
You can fire it in a straight line,
Yeah.
but for that extra power, that twist could make the difference.
Okay.
Now you've got 3 excellent targets that deliver 3 different degrees of damage.
Mm-hmm.
One is the xiphoid, and I'm going to put a mark on my assistant here. The xiphoid is right here. A solid blow to the xiphoid will completely knock the wind out of anybody from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. What happens is a solid blow to the xiphoid causes the lungs to expand, causing the respiratory system to malfunction. Completely knocks the wind out of a person. I'm sure we've all had the wind knocked out of us when we've been hit in the chest.
Yeah.
That's exactly why you get the wind. Actually, the saying is backwards. The wind is actually caught inside your lungs. The second target is underneath the chin. Solid blow underneath the chin can knock out just about anybody. More heavyweight boxers have lost their title to a solid blow to the chin than any other strike. And the third target is right here, underneath the nose. A solid palm strike underneath the nose will break the nose, affecting the respiratory system, affecting the person's vision, and in extreme cases can cause death. So use discretion. The palm strike would be done like this. In slow motion, I would kick, twist out, strike to the xiphoid. If I wanted to strike underneath the chin, kick, twist out, underneath the chin. Underneath the nose would be the same, and if you have to, you can claw at the eyes. Why don't you give it a try?
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
In slow motion, get
Okay.
the feel of the move.
Okay. So.
Snap kick, twist out, palm heel strike. Have your target in mind
Okay.
before you fire the blow. You
So
don't want to
it
be
doesn't matter what I hit. Okay, I'll try it
Try
again.
again.
Okay.
kick, twist out.
The torque.
Not bad. Put a little more twist into that. There you go.
Okay.
And kind of put some body behind it.
Okay. Try it one more time. Okay.
A little harder this time.
Okay.
Kick, twist, palm heel strike.
Sorry, did I hurt you?
It's fun.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Try aiming underneath his nose this time.
Okay.
Kick, twist out. Not bad. Claw at his eyes while you're there.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, now I want you to try. Jim, could you put this on? And that is your target. That's just about where his xiphoid is.
Okay.
In
You
slow motion.
you can boot me pretty good on the shins too. It doesn't really hurt.
Okay.
Now I want you to do a solid palm strike to his chest. Not full power. Just get the feel of the contact that you're making with the proper part of your hand.
Okay.
Kick, twist out. Now I want you to do it again, but this time I want you to put some power behind it.
Okay.
Okay, now, one very important thing here.
Right.
I want you to use emotional content. I want you to turn your fear into anger. I want you to get pissed off and strike that spot. This is a bad guy. Grab her. Kick him hard. Twist. Good. Not bad at all. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to practice these things on your own. As far as the double wrist grab, you are going to need a partner to practice with. And make sure that they use emotional content, that when they grab you, they mean to hold on to you, and then you've got to mean to get out of it. To practice the palm heel strike and the snap kick, you can do that just about anywhere in the house. On the wall is a great place to practice. The snap kick, get in the habit of standing on one leg. You can actually practice a balance exercise while you're watching television. Just practice standing on one leg and time yourself. Pick your leg up, remember to hinge it at the knee, pick an imaginary spot on the wall, and just lightly touch it, just to make sure you're making contact properly. If you normally wear hard shoes, you want to hit with the toes on the wall.
Yeah.
But again, just lightly. If you normally wear soft shoes like runners, curl the toes back. And again, watching television, you can practice foot coordination. For the palm heel strike, get in the habit of holding your hand properly. Tuck the thumb in, keep the fingers together, and pull it slightly back. Start out with the palm up to get that torque into it. Pick an imaginary spot on the wall. Make sure that you're torquing, and you put some body weight into that move. Get some hip movement into it. That'll give you a lot more power. Pick that spot, and when you land on the wall with your palm, make sure that it's connecting right here. Give it a try.
Okay.
Hinge it at the knee.
Okay.
Pick your spot on the wall. Good. Now let's see the palm heel strike. Not too bad at all. Now what you do through your little practice period, try it 10 or 15 times with the right hand, 10 or 15 with the left, and the same as your snap kick. Alternate your legs. Excellent. That was an excellent palm strike.
Thanks.
And I want you to practice that move every day for no more than 5 minutes. Do about 20 repetitions with both hands, also about 20 repetitions with the snap kick.
That's all?
Well, it only takes about 5 minutes a day for a week to start embedding the moves in your mind.
Good.
And then if you ever need them, they'll be there.
Great.
Now I'd like to show you in an actual real-life situation when, how, and why the escape pattern is used.
Great.
I want to talk to you about the throat. More deaths are caused by strangulation than any other non-weapon way. And it's an absolute must that you learn on how to get out of the 2 most common chokeholds. You have less than 4 seconds to react before you start losing consciousness when you're being choked, and less than 11 seconds before you could lose your life.
Wow.
The first chokehold is from the front, and fortunately from this position, you've got a number of good options. Your first best option is to attack his eyes, and the best blow is a thumb eye slash. You take the thumb and you stick it right in the corner of the eye socket and you rip outwards.
Wow.
A double eye slash would be like this. Let me see you hold your thumb.
Okay. How do you hold it?
Like this.
Okay.
Make it stiff.
Okay.
And you want to dig in with this part.
Right.
I know moves like this seem brutal, but if it's a life or death situation, you have no other choice.
Yeah.
Now, remember earlier I told you how to learn to feel the situation and feel the energy? In a situation like this, you should be able to feel what you can pull off and what you can't. For instance, if he's a little bit too far away
Right.
for a thumb eye slash, the next thing that I would try to do is extend my fingers into what's called a finger jab. Remember the palm heel strike? Almost the same type of hand pattern. Tuck the thumb in, put the fingers together and curl them back. You want to take those fingers and stab them right into his eyes. Be like this. You can use either hand. If, for whatever reason, you can't get to his eyes, your next best option is to attack his groin with your hand.
Right.
Grab the genitals and violently yank them upwards. That should get him to let go.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason you can't get to his genitals with your hand, use your knee.
Right.
And when you knee, try to go right between the crotch of the legs. That's how you want your knee to come up, and use as much force as you can trying to lift him off the ground.
Okay.
Another excellent target, if you can't get to his knee, is right there on the thigh.
Okay.
There's 4 muscles that come down like this, and they join right here. And that's where you'd get a Charlie horse.
Right.
And a solid blow right there
Okay.
should buckle him right over.
Yeah. I can feel that would hurt.
Well, so practice your kneeing. Get a cushion off the couch. Get your partner to hold it, and practice your kneeing pattern. This exercise, again, isn't for power. It's to get the mechanics of the move down and the feel of the move.
Okay.
So that's what I would do in that position. The thumb eye slash is my first best option. The second is the finger jab. If for whatever reason I can't do those, grab to the genitals, yank upwards,
Or to the...
knee to the groin, or knee to the thigh.
Okay.
What's this for?
This is to practice your finger jab. And this is what I recommend that you get. Fishing bobber, put it on a string, hang it from the ceiling. Get in the habit of holding your hand properly, tuck that thumb in, keep the fingers together and pull them slightly back.
Yeah.
This exercise is for accuracy. And to do the finger jab effectively, accuracy is crucial. And swat that bobber with your finger jab.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Huh. It's not as hard as I thought.
Now don't swat it.
Hit it with the fingers.
That's it. You got to get in the habit of driving those fingers
Okay.
in. Excellent.
Okay.
Now the next exercise to improve your finger jab is to get a coat hanger and cover it with paper. What I've used with this one here is some old Christmas wrapping paper.
Okay.
Get the coat hanger, tie it on the string, and the object here is to build your power.
Mm-hmm.
Once you can hit the fishing bobber on a regular basis and you can break the paper on the coat hanger, you've mastered the finger jab. Now I want you to jab this coat hanger, busting the paper as hard as you can.
Okay.
Think of your hand as like a snake's tongue whipping out there.
Okay.
Not too bad. That alone would damage somebody's eyes.
Great. Well, these exercises really seem like a lot of fun, but what I'm interested in learning about is rape attacks. That's what I'm most concerned about.
Well, you should be concerned about rape. That's a very serious subject, and contrary to public belief, the majority of rape attacks take place in the victim's own home, where only about 30% take place on the street. Mm-hmm. In the home, the rapist usually uses the horizontal chokehold to control the victim or even sometimes take her life. And he does this while he has her pinned to the floor of the bed, he's straddled across her chest, his hands are wrapped around her throat, cutting off her air supply. And this is a very dangerous position for anyone to be in. There's few moves that'll get the rapist off of you in a situation like that. But the move I'm going to show you next will. But I'm going to need the assistance of Jim again. This is the typical position of the horizontal chokehold. Doesn't feel too comfortable, does it?
No.
Well, this is a very dangerous position to be in.
Yeah.
And your goal should be to get him off you as quickly as possible. And how you do that is take your left leg, bend it at the knee, and bring your foot as close to your butt as you can get it.
Okay.
Take your right hand and wrap it around his wrist. Get a good grip on his wrist.
Okay.
Now take your left hand and this is called a web hand. So hold your hand like that, keep the thumb nice and far apart, fingers together.
Okay.
And I want you to take it and go through this opening and drive it right in the crotch of his elbow. Now in slow motion, just give it a push and you'll see his elbow buckle. As his elbow starts to buckle, his body's going to start to veer this way. That's when you push off of your left leg, flipping him off of you and over to the right side.
Okay, I'll try it.
Go for it. Excellent, excellent.
Oh, not too bad.
With a little bit of practice, you'll get that down.
Yeah.
In a real life situation, what you don't want is to say to yourself, how did that move go? Practicing is your key to survival. Practice often to embed the moves in your mind. Now I'd like to show you a real life situation, when, how, and why that escape pattern is so valuable.
That's a really good move, but what would I do on the street?
The street is totally different. The assailant's attack pattern varies. But if there's one common denominator, it's sneaking up on the victim from behind, catching her off guard and by surprise, placing one hand over her mouth and the other arm around her chest, pulling her backwards, like this. Once again, this is a very dangerous position to be in. And your best defense to break free and escape is to fight back when you're on your feet. Remember the pen? It can be a very effective weapon if held properly and used properly.
Wow, I'll never be without a pen after seeing that.
Hopefully, if you're alert, aware, and avoid setting yourself up for an attack, you won't have to use a technique like this.
So what are some other techniques I could use to defend myself?
Biting is an excellent technique. The average adult has over 350 pounds of biting pressure.
Wow.
And biting is a very effective technique, especially if somebody's grabbed you. But don't just clamp down with your teeth. Remember how animals bite? They shake their head.
Yeah.
This causes a lot more pain, which can cause a better reaction in the assailant to get him to let go. Another very effective technique is hair pulling. But the knack to getting the most out of hair pulling, first of all, think of it as head pulling. You want to twist the hair in your hands and pull the head in a direction that you want the body to go in, like this. Now I'm going to ask Jim to give me a hand here.
Okay.
Jim? I'm going to use just 2 fingers, and you can visualize how much more effective this would be if I use my whole hand. Now the trick is to twist the hair, and the head will follow that direction. Now if I just grab the hair, he can resist, he can pull away. But when that hair is twisted in the hands, he's going to go where I want it to go.
Okay.
Now from the front, I would come in like this. This is, they actually call this in martial arts a hair comb. You hit the forehead right about here, bring the hair in, twist it, bring his head down, and hit him with an elbow strike.
Right.
Anywhere along the backbone, the back of the neck.
Okay.
Why don't you give it a try?
Okay.
In slow motion, get the feel of it.
Okay.
The hand should glance off the forehead, twist the hair. No, that's not a good twist. In, twist it. I don't know what you're doing on the, let's see. More at the root. There you go.
Just
Now,
twist it his way
jerk it down, elbow strike. Lift the elbow up,
and hit him on the
higher,
back.
there.
Okay. Sorry.
Understand that almost all real-life attacks end in close quarters. And the more close-range techniques that you know, the better off you are. One very effective close-range technique is headbutting. Your forehead is the hardest bone in your body. And if you slam that bone on the bridge of the assailant's nose, you're going to do what the palm strike did. You're going to collapse the nose, affecting the respiratory system and affecting the person's vision. How you do the headbutt is you literally whip your head right onto your target. And especially if he's grabbing you,
Okay.
in slow motion, let me see the headbutt.
Okay.
You want this part of your forehead aimed right there.
Okay.
Not bad. Just remember when you do that move, for real, to put your shoulders into
Yep.
it and put body weight into it. Just bang!
Yeah.
Okay, the next technique I want to teach you is foot stomping. Anyone's foot can be broken. Once you break the assailant's foot, it's impossible for him to chase you, let alone stand.
Right.
So, how you do that is, and this is actually a fun exercise,
Okay.
get in the habit of lifting your foot, and as soon as it starts coming down, the toes start pointing up, and the heel makes contact on your target. Actually, this is a fun part of the exercise. Lift your leg up. Always be aware of your balance. Bring the foot down, and the heel making contact with the floor. The target on your opponent would be right here, right on the arch of the foot.
Yeah.
So it would be like that.
Okay.
That would be an excellent hit, and you could completely shatter the foot of anybody. The foot is really quite fragile. It's only got 28 tiny little bones. And it takes about 50 pounds of impact on the arch of the foot to totally collapse the foot. And just about anybody can generate that much power if they do a little bit of practicing. Just about anybody can practice this. And almost anywhere. One of the favorite places is in the living room. You throw some coins on the rug, and you pick your foot up and try to strike them with the heel of your foot. This exercise is for accuracy, not power. Once you can hit the coins on a regular basis, you take them out in the backyard, throw them on the ground, and then this exercise is for power. Now that you've got the accuracy, now try to drive those coins as hard as you can into the ground. Once you've mastered that, you can break anyone's foot. Excellent. You're very accurate.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to show you when a foot stomp can get you out of a very bad situation. And remember the headbutting? We're going to do what is called a reverse headbutt
Okay.
from a rear attack, which is very common, used on females. To get the most out of the headbutting, whip your body backwards. Just simulate it. I don't want you to hurt Jim.
Right.
And your target should be the bridge of his nose. That's why I was talking earlier about feeling. And you can kind of feel where the person is. Once you've whipped your head back, then I want you to do a reverse shin kick, which is very easy to do. Your foot goes straight out, and then it comes whipping right back. You want to hit his shin with the back of your heel. It would be like that.
Okay.
Then from here, you lift your foot up and come down on the arch of his foot.
Okay.
That is an excellent breakaway pattern, and I strongly recommend that you practice that until you have it down.
Okay.
Jim, if you could give us a hand. Okay, the rear attack, put one arm around her chest.
Okay.
As soon as you're grabbed,
Yeah.
as soon as you're touched, that is your most advantageous time to get away. Whip your body back, that's it. Lift your leg up, shin kick. Now, lift it up into the foot stomp. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Let me see you do it again one more time real quick.
Okay.
As soon as he grabs you,
Okay.
whip your head back, reverse shin kick, foot stomp. Fantastic.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Jim.
That was fun.
Well, with a little bit of practice, you should be able to stomp those pennies right in the ground.
So, what was it you were saying earlier about 70% of all attacks taking place in the victim's own home?
Actually, it's 70% of all rapes take place in the victim's own home. And over 50% of those victims are attacked by somebody that they know, either a friend, an acquaintance, or a relative. So it's a very good idea to become more familiar with all the things that are in your environment. Things like objects and obstacles that can be used to your advantage if you ever have to defend yourself. Also, what things are close by that can be used as effective weapons.
Right.
So I'd like to take you for a walk, Ann, through a fairly typical house and point out some things you might not be aware of.
Great.
Okay? Now we're going to walk through a fairly typical house, and I'm going to show you what objects and obstacles can be used in your own self-defense. Just inside the front door, it might not be a bad idea to store a little baseball equipment or a few golf clubs. Did you know in the past 10 years, violent assaults have increased over 500%, and the bulk of those attacks happened in the victim's own home? Also, if you have stairs in your house, they can be an effective weapon. Use them. Knocking a person down a flight of stairs can often give you enough time to escape or get your hands on a more effective weapon. The kitchen's an excellent place to find effective weapons. Now, some of the weapons in the kitchen might seem too extreme, like large, sharp butcher knives. But if you're being raped or your children are in danger, no weapon is too extreme. Also, things like pots and pans can be very effective clubs. Even soapy dishwater in a glass thrown in an assailant's face can sometimes give you enough edge to get your hands on something a little more effective. Most kitchens are equipped with telephones for dialing 911, and beside the phones are usually pens and pencils. And we all know how effective a pen can be. On the way to the bathroom, this caught my eye. This is another object that I would use, a sharp corner of a wall. Slamming a person's back into the sharp corner of the wall can do anything from knocking their wind out to rendering them unconscious. The bathroom's an excellent room for you to escape to and fight from. One, it has a locking door. Two, it's got all kinds of articles that can be used in your self-defense. Scissors, rat-tail combs, aerosol sprays, even scalding hot water thrown in a person's face can be very effective. Also, it usually has a window that you can smash and scream or escape from. If the fight started in the living room, one of the first things that I would personally do is pick up a heavy object, like a remote control or an ashtray, and throw it right through the front window. This will create one hell of a noise and bring some attention. Also, another misconception that people have about self-defense is that you have to be in great shape to defend yourself. Not true. A heavy object like this can lay out just about anyone. Also, if you have a fireplace utensils can be a handy little weapon if your back's up against the wall. If I'm ever in a fight and I'm outside, I'll try using a curb. Inside, I'll try using an object like a coffee table. Now I'd like to show you a real-life example on how effective a coffee table can be. Now we're going to walk through a bedroom. This is the room that the biggest percent of murders and rapes take place in. So it's an absolute must that you pre-set up this room prior to a possible attack. The first thing I recommend is a strong lock on the bedroom door. The second thing is a telephone for dialing 911. Also, things like scissors in the nightstand could be a real lifesaver. And don't forget the windows to smash and scream from or to escape from. By becoming more familiar where all the objects and obstacles are in your own home, to where you can find them even in the dark, will give you both a physical and psychological edge and make your home a much safer place than it is right now.
Whew, what a lot of information. I can see how important it is to practice. And I definitely feel a lot safer knowing that there are things I can do to defend myself.
Yes, there's all kinds of things you can do to defend yourself. If you're ever attacked, just keep thinking. That's the key to survival. It's everyone's right to feel safe in whatever environment they're in. And maybe if the tables were turned on some of these people, they'd think twice before they tried it again. I feel it's time that people started preparing themselves in whatever way they can against some of the maniacs that are running around in our society. And I would really like to hear from the viewer on any opinions or suggestions they have about this video.
Great.
And I really enjoyed working with you today.
Thanks. I really enjoyed learning.